Good evening and welcome to Arizona Illustrated for Tuesday, the 11th of December, 2012. I'm Tony Paniagua. The Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum is one of the most popular destinations in Pima County where visitors can get close to nature in our famous scenic surroundings. The facility is celebrating its 60th anniversary this year, and now it's getting ready to begin another chapter with a new aquarium exhibit that is set to open in January. Joining us in the studio are Executive Director Craig Ivanyi and aquarium biologist Debbie Hutchinson. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Let's begin with you, Craig. So a little bit about the history of why an aquarium here at the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that a lot of people don't think about the desert as an environment where the marine element figures into it at all, but quite frankly, our desert would not be the desert it is without the Gulf of California, also known as the Sea of Cortez. So when you look at those summer rains that come up with a monsoon, those are coming up out of the Gulf, and it virtually defines the type of vegetation, iconic saguaros, things like that. So it's really important to the desert that we actually are used to seeing around Tucson, but it also has over 900 Gulf islands that are desert scrub habitat as well, different types of Gulf Coast shrub. So the diversity down there is a great thing to be able to talk about. It's a very important topic for us to make sure people understand the connection to the sea and also our impacts on it as well.
All right, and Debbie, you have been putting together these aquariums and these exhibits. A lot of fun for you. What have you been doing as part of your job?
It's been really exciting, just coming up with different exhibit ideas and making sure that each exhibit looks different and unique too. So it's really cool. We're going to have a Cabo Pomo exhibit that focuses on a national park down there, and it's on the tip of the Baja Peninsula. So we'll be exhibiting that with a 2,000-gallon tank with all kinds of a variety of fish, like lookdowns, Cortez marine angelfish, and a variety of other species.
And you brought a couple of examples here. These are not formerly live animals, but what would you like to tell us?
We were asked to bring some props, and so we are going to have seahorses. There's one species found in the Sea of Cortez. It's one of the largest. It's called the Pacific seahorse, and they grow to be over a foot, pretty much, so they're very large. Really neat is that ours are all aquacultured, so they're tank raised, and we got them about 6 months ago, and they were about this big, and now they're about full-grown size, and they're actually this size. So.
All right, and you have something else there as well?
Another type of fish that we'll have are porcupine puffers, and also some other puffers. Obviously, we will not have them be puffed up because that means they're stressed, but they're a really neat, charismatic, interesting fish that has a lot of personality, so I think people would be really excited to see them.
All right, Craig, so how is the aquarium going to work, this exhibit? It's called the Warden Aquarium, and it's actually going to be, you're going to have two galleries. Can you tell us a bit about that, please?
Yeah. The name Warden Aquarium comes from the Warden family, which is one of the major funders for the project. So a large part of what we've needed to actually bring this together, and believe it or not, the museum has dreamed of having something like this for probably over 50 years. It just never actually happened. So finally the stars have aligned and we actually are able to pull this together. So the funding, of course, comes from a variety of sources, but primarily from the Warden family. And the concept of this aquarium is to start out by following the Colorado River and showing how, at least it used to be connected to the Gulf and how it no longer is, and how those things are kind of, should be connected. They have very important connections that without that being there, it has an effect on the marine organisms that in a kind of a nursery environment. And then beyond focusing on the Sea of Cortez, it actually focuses on some other topics in freshwater fishes, looking at Apache trout, which is the only native trout to Arizona, and then several species that the museum has a long history of actually doing conservation projects where we figure into the picture when, believe it or not, when the Horseshoe 2 fire or something like that occurs, we get calls from state and federal agencies saying, hey, can you hold some fish until this stream returns back to normal? So we'll be able to focus on that, those projects. And what I have in front of me here, of course, is a sea turtle. We will not have sea turtles in the aquarium. It's a modest-sized space, but the reality is that this is part of the biodiversity because there's 5 species of sea turtles that occur down there, 5 species of whales, over 800 species of fishes, 5,000 species of invertebrates. So it's just phenomenal biodiversity, and we'll do what we can in a small space to represent that, and then describe quite a bit of it through different types of media as well as our docents.
And Debbie, why do you think this is such a good idea for people to have here locally? I know we were speaking ahead of the interview that you fell in love with the ocean when you used to visit the Sea of Cortez, just south of us.
I actually went to the University of Arizona here, majoring in ecology and evolutionary biology, and it was going down to Puerto Penasco, basically, that really got me interested in it. So just all the diversity that's down there, warm water, Also, people just don't realize how big the Sea of Cortez is a part of the Sonoran Desert. It's over 100,000 square miles pretty much too. So we get asked a lot, like, why an aquarium? And actually there's a lot of animals that people haven't had a chance to see here in Arizona.
And this will make them obviously a lot closer to the average person.
Yeah, by far.
Okay, and then Craig, about the water, will the water evaporate? Will it be wasted? What happens? Are you recycling it? How is that going to work?
We're very fortunate at the museum that we have our own wetlands project, and so all of the water that we actually use on the grounds goes into our own wastewater treatment, and that's done without chemicals. It's a biological filtration, and all the water from this aquarium will do the same thing. What that allows us to do is actually process it on grounds and then harvest it and use that, basically reuse it for irrigation of the plants on grounds.
Okay, and then finally, quickly, when will the public be able to enjoy the galleries there?
The opening day is January 5th, and this is, as I mentioned, it's not the largest space, and we expect to have capacity issues, so there will be a time ticket system that will be in place. So it's really good if people are checking ahead. They will have the capacity to actually reserve a space ahead of time or show up and do that kind of first come, first serve.
All right, great. Thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
The Raptor Free Flight program is one of the other popular attractions at the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum. Tonight we'll give you a closer look at some of the amazing birds and people who make it possible.
You know them when you see them. There's no mistaking birds that are built to eat flesh. They're fast and fearless, and they carry their own weapons. We call them raptors. That's Latin for seize or plunder, and it's the name for what we call birds of prey. Many humans are oblivious to the raptor's presence, and others want to get as close as possible.
In the raptor's world, the females are larger than the males.
You can't get any closer than at the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum west of Tucson. Featuring orphaned birds unable to be returned to the wild, the experience truly lives up to its name. Raptor Free Flight.
Good morning. Can you all hear me? I'm Carol, and I'm a volunteer with Raptor Free Flight.
We can't restrain the birds, so when they're loose, they're loose. They can take off and go anywhere they want to go.
These birds are going to be flying all around you and very, very, very close to you.
Sometimes they dart right in between people.
Oh, look, right over our head.
They treat the public, the audience, as they would a group of bushes or something like that.
You never know what will happen, so you really can't have a prepared speech, and sometimes you have to tap dance. You just have to wing it with the bird.
The unpredictable stars of the show include a special gray hawk.
I think it's the only one free flying in the country to my knowledge. There's about 80 nesting pair here in southern Arizona.
One of the strongest of all raptors, a great horned owl.
They live in any type of habitat in Arizona, including the city.
A hawk named for its rusty color, the ferruginous hawk.
The largest type of hawk in North America, about 4.5 foot wingspan, really impressive bird.
The bird with Hollywood's most famous and overused hawk call, the red-tailed.
The most common of the large hawks that you'll find anywhere in the country, and she's trained to soar 1,000 feet or more above the desert floor here and then dive down in a pretty spectacular dive to the glove.
One of the fastest animals on Earth, the prairie falcon.
And the prairie falcon can fly at speeds over 200 miles an hour.
And one of the most commonly seen urban hawks, the harrises.
And they're unique in that fact that they're the one of only 2 species of raptor in the entire world that live and hunt in these family groups. And it's more evolved here in the Sonoran Desert than anywhere else in the world. And we think it's a direct adaptation for the difficulty that they face hunting in the cactus forest here.
Sometimes if the whole family sees the prey move, they'll all converge on it at once and attempt to keep it from gaining cover.
All this swooping, soaring, diving, and aerial acrobatics is immensely entertaining and awe-inspiring. But there's also a deeper purpose.
At the end of the day, you know, it really doesn't matter to me personally if people can remember how many eggs the birds lay, you know, what kind of prey that they capture, as long as they leave at the end of the day with this newfound awe and appreciation for the natural world that we live in.
If you enjoy animals and what they do and them and their best, I mean, this is it. I mean, it really is.
I thought I was going to get hit by one of them. It was like so
The last time my husband and I were out here, the Harris hawk went vertically right between our heads.
Don't miss it.
Excellent. Awesome flight photo opportunity.
If you see a beautiful flower or a rock or an artifact, leave it, take pictures of it.
It's a conservation message, I think, and not just conserving raptors. None of the species we use are endangered or anything like that, but more conserving and appreciating the natural world.
The sights and sounds from Raptor Free Flight often leave deep and lasting impressions, no matter if it's your first time or your 100th.
It's always a magical experience to me. That's the biggest thing. That's the kind of the key word that always comes to mind is, you know, I've never outgrown or conceptualized completely the fact that we can create this bond with a wild animal. Again, that quintessential wild animal, those hawks, eagles, falcons, owls, turn them loose and have them decide to fly back. And it's just, it teaches you not only a lot about the natural world and how animals operate, but also how to better build relationships and keep relationships with people in your personal life.
And hope you get brushed by a feather so you can have 25 years of good luck, okay?
Many consumers are trying to stretch their food dollars, and there's a program in Arizona that provides a great opportunity. It's called Market on the Move, and it allows participants to acquire 60 pounds of food for $10. Caitlin Harrington has an interview with more details.
Joining me now in the studio is Ester Havey. She is on the board of directors for the 3000 Club and the supervisor for the Markets on the Move in Tucson. Esther, thank you for being here today.
Thank you also for giving us the opportunity to be here to tell the public about Market on the Move.
So Esther, start by telling me, when did Markets on the Move begin and how has it grown over the last couple of years?
Well, actually, I started joining Ethel and Lon, the founder of Market on the Move and 3000 Club, on October 2010. And at that time, we only have one Market on the Move here in Tucson. And now, it's only like 3 years. We have actually 17 locations now here in Tucson.
Esther, tell me a little bit about the goals of Market on the Move and how it's different from your typical farmer's market.
Our goal is to help, mainly to help people who are in need, especially the economy that we have right now, and also to introduce healthy food to the younger ones and kind of like reintroduce to the older ones. Because I know there's a need for healthy food at this time.
And tell us a little bit how the Markets on the Move work. And you said this isn't a place where people come to buy groceries or buy produce, but more make a donation. So talk to us about how that works.
Well, how it works is we reclaim produce that are supposed to be thrown in the landfill, which we actually have a statistic on that before 2010, they have a statistic that they are throwing 32 million pounds of produce to the landfill. So with that, it's a waste. So that's why we try to think what we can do, and that's how Market on the Move is started. And with that, we reclaim through Borderlands Food Bank, and then we will get it from them. Then right now we have all these trucks that are bringing it to us, and we have, like I said, 17 locations now here in Tucson. Every Saturday we have like 3 or 4 sites just here in Tucson, not even counting Phoenix. And with that, we ask for $10 donation from people, from everybody who are willing to come and donate $10 to help us rescue more produce.
And for that $10, how much produce can a person or an organization leave with?
we give them one big box, empty big box, or two medium empty big box, and they can fill up those boxes up to 60 pounds of produce of their choice.
Because this produce is being saved or rescued, sometimes you said there's limited quantities of items. So tell us some of the different produce that people can find and how you kind of limit that so that everyone gets a fair share.
Well, when the produce comes, we actually don't even know what produce that are coming at the time. Sometimes they will give us a notice like a day, but it's hard to predict what we're getting. But if we got this produce already, we will actually look at the produce that are dropped to us. And if we have a limit of like only 1 pallet of eggplant, and we have like 10 pallets of tomatoes and 5 pallets of cucumber, we will actually count the eggplant on each boxes, how many eggplant in there, and if we are predicting like 300 people that will come to that site, then if we have like 1,000 eggplant, we will divide that 1,000 into 300. So that way people can get a fair share of even just 2 or 3 pieces of eggplant.
Esther, you said the 17 different locations, and when we talked prior to this interview, you said that you were completely booked until June. So TMC just joined in on this, as well as the Pueblo School, is that right?
Yes.
Tell us why this is such a big impact to the Markets on the Move.
It is a big impact, I think, because everybody just kind of like their budget. They will say when they will come to get the produce, they'll say, oh, it will help us with our budget. And also, there's a lot of people now who are more they're more concerned now with their health issue, and so they want to start eating healthier food now than it used to. And those are the kind of things that we're hearing every Saturday. And with like TMC and TUSD Pueblo Magnet High School, they are very interested because they can also see the needs of the community where they at. So the parents get involved, and even the administrator, like Pima Community College, they've been so involved with us, and it's helping us also.
Esther, thank you so much for being here today. We'll link your webpage on our site.
Yes, and if anybody who are interested to know more about Market on the Move, they can always go to our 3000club.org website, or even just Google Market on the Move, and we are there.
Thanks again.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
The Bisbee Restoration Association is a nonprofit group with the goal of preserving and celebrating Bisbee's history through the lives of its citizens. Next, Mark McLemore visits the association's museum and finds a place where everyday objects can tell fascinating stories.
Since it was founded in 1880, the town of Bisbee has gone through many phases. What was once the queen of the copper camps is today a home to artisans and tourism. But there's a place on Main Street where visitors can take a closer look at how things used to be. Housed in a former department store called the Fair Building, the Bisbee Restoration Museum is maintained by a group of senior volunteers. It's dedicated to the history of the town and its citizens, no matter how humble.
If it came from Bisbee or belonged to somebody in Bisbee, we will take it. We don't buy anything, everything's donated. They've been really good to bring things in. In fact, we need a little more room. We got a matching grant from the state to repair the building. We had 1914 wiring, And we had to go back in the back room and pull like forks over to turn the lights on. It got kind of scary. They would spark when you turned them on. A lot of people will come down from upstairs and say, oh boy, I saw a lot of stuff I remember when I was a kid. I must be getting old. We have toasters of all kinds, from porcelain, which I had never seen, from early years up through the late 30s. There's a sewing machine upstairs that's very old, and there's very few of them around. On the mezzanine, we have a typewriter that has separate keys for capital letters, which I wouldn't want to learn to type on. A lot of the school kids don't even know what a typewriter is. We love it when kids come in because they ooh and ah and oh, and they can't believe all this stuff. And we have busts. This one over here is Teddy Roosevelt. As a class graduated, they would buy something like that to leave with the school. When the schools closed, they were taking those things to the dump. And one of the gentlemen that helped start this museum saw them, and he stopped them and got them.
Some of the artifacts on display recall the days when Bisbee was a prosperous mining town, fueled by the seemingly endless mineral treasures of the Mule Mountains.
There's a wedding dress up on the second floor that's completely handmade in the late 1800s. Tiny stitches and a lot of them.
These two dresses, the white and the maroon, are the two that I like the best. And if I had their figure, I'd love to have the dresses. But now most of these probably came from ladies that husbands had some money, because I don't think an ordinary housewife would have dresses like that.
It's clear that life for the earliest settlers in Bisbee was rarely luxurious, despite the money that was being made there.
It was a hard life for them, especially coming to a new mining camp that hardly had anything at all available. You had to bring your own stuff with you, household goods and clothing and everything. I don't think they had a very easy life at all.
I like old things. I like antique furniture and antiques. And I think the kids need to know how people used to live.
Bisbee, Arizona isn't the town that it used to be, but the flavor of its past and the stories of many pioneering souls who called it their home are being treasured and preserved by Ruth Cooksley and her friends.
I hope that it keeps going forever.
Some students from the University of Arizona School of Theater, Film, and Television will be showing their documentaries to the public at the Loft Cinema this Wednesday night. Tonight, we give you a glimpse of what it takes to complete one of these projects with a different group of emergent producers. It's tonight's video postcard from photographer and editor Frederick Duarte.
I can't wrap my head around it.
Around what?
I think that Tucson is a good place, to start out, just to, like I said, gain experience, because I don't think that anybody will really condemn me for what I've done here, whether it's good or bad work. So it's just like a stepping stone, I suppose.
Well, anything's possible, right?
We chose to shoot down in Sonora because we have land down here, and so it's free, and it looks quite different from Tucson, and the weather's always perfect, and it always works out nice for what we're shooting. So,
you know, real filmmakers, I think, can just make the product no matter what and tell the story as they want it to be told, regardless of a budget. Because, you know, these days you can buy an HD camera for literally $100, and so I think that people who, you know, blame the equipment or just say like, oh, I can't make this movie the way I want it to be, just aren't creative enough, and that's why I like working with these guys.
Across the universe, billions of miles away.
Picking the right tools for the film is pretty tricky, especially when you don't have a budget. Lighting, you know, of course, is really essential, so I'll have to use makeshift lights and reflect a lot of light because we only have like 2 lights or 3 lights. When we did the moon scene in this film, I think we only had like 3 lights. So we had to do a lot of reflecting, a lot of visual effects to get rid of direct light and make sure it looked like a real moonlight hitting the characters.
Do you think they're in love?
Huh? I don't know.
For this short in particular, we prepared by having read-throughs. We would get the actors, sit them down, we'd have them read through the script, and it's kind of like a rehearsal without actually being on location and rehearsing. In other ways, we actually have rehearsals where we set up the shots, we set up the lights, we run through before we take a take, and then we roll on a rehearsal just in case we like it, or if they got it.
The more that we get to experiment with our own filmmaking styles, the more it really shines through as a better product. And I think everything we've done has gotten significantly better every step of the way.
You can get more news and information on our website, azpm.org. To comment on any story you saw tonight, click on it online and go to the bottom. We can also be reached via Facebook and Twitter. Coming up tomorrow night, a local award-winning fitness buff joins us with tips and inspiration. And an educator from Marana Middle School is the state's newest science teacher of the year. I'm Tony Paniagua. From all of us at Arizona Public Media, have a great night.